fresh out the box.
Fresh California plums.
Welcome to another episode of Fresh Film Fridays, the podcast where two dudes pick the newest films streaming or in theaters and discuss them. Today we're talking about 2022's Everything Everywhere All at Once, which was directed by Dan Kwan and Daniel Scheinert. I'm your co-host Alec.
I'm Justin.
Yeah, man, this movie's making the rounds. People are talking about this movie. I mean, every time I go on YouTube, it's just like, what is this movie? How do you break down this? What does the ending mean? I don't know. They're talking about it. It's got good reviews. What did you think right off the top?
I saw it opening weekend. I was pumped for it. So far, A24 has been pretty much everything I've seen after The Green Knight. Well, The Lighthouse before that. But then this and X, like, dude, I really liked it. I knew I would like it just from like the Matrix aspect, but it had so much more besides just that.
Yeah, it was cool, man. It was very different. Like you have no idea what to expect going into this, like at all. Like the poster just looks insane. It looks like an acid trip, and then it starts off where it's just kind of about like this sad Chinese woman and her husband and their daughter, and they're just living in this like, you know, kind of crazy apartment. They've got a laundromat. Like they're doing their best, and then it just goes into crazy town. They're fighting the IRS. All this stuff happens, but I don't know. It's a long-winded movie, which we'll get through, but initially you liked it. I liked it too. I wasn't 95 on Rotten Tomatoes, kind of liked it, but I enjoyed it.
Okay.
But yeah, Matrix for sure. Like big Matrix vibes, big butterfly effect vibes, just like Rick and Morty. I mean, everything. Multiverse is just, yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, I watched an interview with the directors, and they said it was inspired by The Matrix, Kill Bill, It's a Wonderful Life, and then Michelle Yeoh's entire filmography. They're apparently huge fans of her. Dude, did you know? I looked up some fun facts. So this had a $25 million budget, which they said was not a lot. Maybe, I don't know, like to us it seems like a lot, but like maybe for a Hollywood movie it's not. And they ran out of money and had to hire these two dudes called Marshall Club on YouTube. And they did the choreography. Like there's these two friends that do like fighting scenes for movie spoofs on YouTube. And they liked it so much that they hired them to do the fight scene. So that was pretty cool.
Wow. I mean, that helps them out. It helps everybody out, you know, if they run out of money for the film, but also like gives these guys the chance to be like, oh my God, we're getting a chance to work on like a major movie. And I'm sure their careers are going to take off.
Oh, yeah.
But when you say 25 million is not a lot, it's not a lot, you know, if you're making like a rom-com maybe, or just like an independent coming of age movie, but for them to have like all these crazy special effects, so much just like different sets, like movie premieres, and then hot dog finger scenes, just like it's all over the place. I don't think 25 million is nearly enough for a movie of this scale, you know?
Yeah. And fun fact, those hot dog hands were actually like prosthetic gloves.
Okay. I thought they were real hot dogs. You got me. It's a weird movie, and I guess like the whole like surface level of it is basically like there's this couple in this alpha verse, so I guess that's like the first universe or whatever, and they have a daughter that like can bend time and space, and they like push her too far, and then she destroys all the multiverse. Is that kind of like the surface level of this?
Yeah, basically she's the bad one, and she just keeps hopping multiverses to different timelines, and that's why they wanted her to kill her daughter Joy to prevent her from becoming bad, which I also like that aspect because she could have saved millions of lives by killing her daughter, but she chose to be good and try and like help her instead.
Yeah, it's a very confusing movie. I 100% need to see it again because I just don't like the bagel thing. Like, is that like a black hole? Like, what is that?
I think so. It's definitely a movie that you need to see multiple times.
Yeah.
And not necessarily because it's confusing, but because there's so much to take in that you probably miss something. IMDb gave it an 8.3, but at the time when I saw it in theaters, it was like a 9 something.
I mean, I can understand why, because it's just like it makes you question so much about just like life and, you know, what's important. And you're like, because when you said It's a Wonderful Life, I was like, oh yeah, it is kind of like that. It shows her what her life could have been, but like so many different versions of it. And it's a cool thing. Like you can get trapped in a different version of a life that you see. You're like, oh my God, that's exactly what I want to be. And you just like lose yourself in that. That was cool. Like, it's cool to like think about stuff like that.
Yeah. It grossed over 78 million. So they tripled their profits. But I did not know. It took me like half the film to realize that was the Dr. Jones kid.
I know, I know.
Because I'm watching it, I'm like, why does he like sound familiar? And then I looked at the cast, and it's his picture from when he was like 8. I'm like, oh my god, dude.
Yeah, Ki Huan Kwan. He had a huge gap. Like he didn't act for a long time.
20 years. This was his first major film in 20 years.
Dude, what has he been doing? Just taking acting lessons in a cabin? Like he was really good.
I mean, I think he's been in smaller things or just like kind of chilling, but like this was his first major film.
I mean, easily, yeah, in 20 years. So that was really cool. And I feel bad. Like, I don't know Michelle Yeoh's like career at all. I mean,
What?
dude, I know. Like, I've seen Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I definitely saw Tomorrow Never Dies like a long time ago, but I just don't think I've seen her in much.
She's in a ton of fighting choreography type films. And yeah, dude, I mean, yeah, I mean, if you look at them, there's a ton of them, but she's super famous, dude. And like,
Yeah.
I love how they used kind of the same fighting style from Crouching Tiger.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the fighting was great, and like she's so unassuming. Like in the beginning, you're like, oh, she's just like an older lady who's just like, like pissed off, and then all of a sudden, yeah, she's doing these amazing fighting stunts. And also, I was so surprised Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh yeah.
So I thought she was going to be like a small character. I did not think she was going to be basically like the second major villain. She reminds me of my great aunt Nancy, who used to work at the emergency security.
She played a great part. Like she was pretty scary, and like, you're picturing this foreign family that, maybe they're English, and their concept of like how to run a company isn't perfect, and this IRS lady's just like trying to slam them.
Yeah, dude, she was really funny, very believable, like in her job, and like exuding the little bit of control that she has at her job. Like I don't know, I thought it was interesting, but it's a lot like The Matrix, but instead of it being like a computer program or simulation, it's just like she's infecting all of these different realities. So, what do you think? Do you think that there's different dimensions that like aliens and ghosts and all that stuff can come through? That's what we think they are when we're like, I saw an alien, I saw a ghost. It's like, oh, it's just somebody like fucking with the multiverse.
I mean, the concept of it is that it's so large, it's infinite, essentially. I know you don't watch the Marvel movies, but it reminded me of like DC's Doctor Strange, the multiverse, and like the whole Thanos concept, where like Joy was kind of like Thanos, like she's going to each timeline and destroying things. It was done great, man. And the first cut was 3 hours, so they shaved 40 minutes off.
Oh my god. Well, this movie's doing very well, so I guarantee you when A24 releases their like special 4K Blu-ray, blah blah blah, it'll have like the extended version. It has to. This movie, it's the best A24 film financially, I guess, they've ever released.
Oh wow.
I'm assuming, yeah, people are going to want to know more about it. But I want to know, like, what is Joy's motive? Why is she doing this? Just because her mom was mean to her in that one multiverse, she's like, I'm going to go to every universe and just like turn it into nothing, go full blown never ending story on that.
I mean, I guess she doesn't really need a reason, but that's why when the original version of her husband came over, he was trying to say like, he warned her about her daughter. The grandpa wanted to kill her to just avoid it completely.
Yeah.
My favorite aspect was how they had the ability, like the Matrix, to be like, I need copter training, I need machine guns, but they had to do something specific to get it, like paper cut or put those like that trophy butt plug in. Like that was awesome.
Yeah, so like I guess it's to screw up what the algorithm or something where it's like, hey, you've got to do something so random that like but it's sometimes lucky though. Like that guy was like, you need to eat the gum, you need to gum or whatever. Like what if there
Yeah.
wasn't gum around? He was so lucky he was like stuck to that table right there,
Yeah. I can't imagine having to like give yourself 10 paper cuts.
Oh, I didn't watch that scene. I looked away the whole time. Did they show up close to that or no? I didn't watch it. I really didn't.
I mean, it wasn't up close, but you knew what was going on. I also liked how the enemies were so strong. Like even the husband who came from a different timeline, who knew he knew how to fight because he whooped the shit out of those 3 guards with the fanny pack, which was the choreography was so good.
Yeah.
But like Jamie Lee Curtis, her strength as like the villain was so strong that like he couldn't do anything but buy time to escape.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Matrix with the agents sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like you know, he can only be so good. Yeah, so if I understand this correctly, like the Alpha verse is not the first multiverse, but it's the one where Joy became this. What's the character? Jobo Toki or something?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so and then when that happened, the Alphaverse becomes like, okay, this is like where the fuse got lit, and now it's spreading. It's super confusing. So then let me see the character name here, Jobo Tupaki. Why doesn't she just go one by one and I guess that's is what she's doing, right? And destroying them one by one,
Yeah.
and then looking for the one who can stop her, which is this version of Evelyn.
Supposedly, but I'm not sure if the concept is she can stop her or she chooses to do the right thing and not try to kill her, which is actually the reason that's stopping her,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. So then they go back to their original timeline where she owns the laundromat and they fix all of the problems. She stands up to her father and tells her daughter's gay. She goes to the IRS and they convince them to give them another week. They don't get divorced. So like all of the problems in her life are fixed. But I guess it's like, yeah, because then she sees like how amazing her life could be, but there's problems in that life too, like sort of thing.
Yeah, I also really like the Rock universe where
Oh
they
yeah.
just awkwardly didn't say anything for like a minute.
Yeah. So that universe is where there's literally no life, right?
Yeah, they're rocks who just for eternity stay in that one spot.
Yeah, and that's kind of crazy. Like, there's no birds, there's no bugs, there's nothing. There's nothing that's alive. Yeah, it makes you think. It's a head scratcher, Justin.
Yeah, it did great. So I put on Twitter what to review, this or The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent with Nick Cage, which I also wanted to see in theaters, but there was like a lot of things coming out at this time, and I remember I went 3 times like in a week and a half, and I was like, all right, I gotta like take it easy. So maybe we can do that for the next one too, because a lot of people wanted to hear both.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely cover that next week. I'm excited for that one too, just because it's like, oh, that's a real person. So I don't know, it'd be funny.
Yeah, and Nick Cage.
Yeah, you love him. But this movie, so it's broken into 3 parts. So it's everything, everywhere, all at once. So what do you think that means? There's like part 1, it's like, okay, here's everything we're laying out for you. Like this is what this woman's life is like. This is everything that's going on.
Mhm.
Everywhere is when she becomes like her ability to go everywhere. So she's able to like jump into different multiverses. And then all at once, I don't know. What do you think the all at once is?
Probably when Joy was trying to just destroy everything. I'm not really sure. I didn't like delve that deep into it. I liked the little play on Ratatouille with the
Oh,
raccoon.
yes.
Dude, that was so funny.
That was my favorite part. For sure, just like the Rakakuni or whatever. Like, and dude, just having Chad, that character, be such a douchebag, and they're like in the kitchen cutting up the food and stuff like that. It's like she's seen too much. Get her. Like, I loved that. That it was definitely my favorite part. But why did she save? Like, why did she help her at the end? Like, why did that matter?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's so many weird, and yeah, like why does it matter that she has like that love affair with Jamie Lee Curtis as a hot dog finger woman? Like what the hell? What is that all? What? Why is all that? What does that mean?
I don't know. They went back to the whole Jamie Lee Curtis love hot dog hand universe a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe it was to show that in a different universe, like Jamie Lee Curtis is actually like the victim and the nice one, and then they're going to the present time where she's like the evil villain, and she's also bad, not including powers because she's like the mean IRS lady.
Yeah.
I like the little side stories they did, like when Michelle got new powers, she would like go back to her potential other universe where she was like learning how to do kung fu and doing like the pinky training her whole life for that one moment.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, exactly. No, that was very Matrix like, where it's like jack 'em in or whatever, but you get to see a version of your life, which is different than the Matrix. It doesn't just, you don't just download kung fu or whatever like they do in that.
Mhm.
This is an entire different version of you. Yeah, like the blind version of her. And she becomes an amazing singer and she's got
Yeah.
stronger lung capacity. Like that's so cool. You get to see
Yeah.
that life unfold.
It's not like she's learning the skills. It's literally a different life in a different universe.
Yeah.
I also like James Hong. Do you recognize him?
Dude, I was literally just about to bring him up.
Dude, he's so funny.
He is amazing.
Yeah, he's in Rush Hour, right?
I don't.
Maybe I'm confusing Rush Hour. He's in everything, but I'm trying to think of a specific role.
Dude, okay, I can give you a couple. So have you seen Wayne's World 2?
Yeah.
Okay, he's like the dad or whatever when they do that kung fu spoof. He's that. He's in Blade Runner. He's the guy that's like, I made your eyes, like that guy. He's in Chinatown. I can't remember what he is in that. He's in Big Trouble Little China. Remember Balls of Fury, the ping pong movie from when we were in high school? That stupid fucking movie.
Yeah, that movie was pretty sweet. Yeah, his IMDb list is insane.
Well, it should be. He's 93, dude.
Oh wow.
Oh my God. So he started acting in 1950.
Yeah, he's pretty old.
Holy he actually looks about the same as he did in Wayne's World too. Like, he hasn't aged very, very much. Like, he looks great. For 93, dude? I don't know. I guess he was in the Kung Fu Panda movies too.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's amazing. Yeah, he was in the original Kung Fu from the 70s with, I think it was the Carradine, with David Carradine or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, dude. This guy's been in everything. But anyways, yeah, man. Really good cast. I mean, I was so floored, yeah, that it was Short Round from Indiana Jones and then James Hong. I mean, everybody was great. Yeah, I don't know. It's a heartfelt movie. It's a sad movie. It's funny. It's got a lot of action. It's really cool. It's all over the place.
Yeah, it had great choreography, and besides the fact that it had so many different concepts, like it was an action movie, it had love, the family aspect, it kind of had some fear aspects because like you were genuinely afraid for the cast when they were like hiding and crawling behind the cubicles and Jamie Lee, like you knew if Jamie Lee Curtis caught them, she would kill them immediately.
Mm.
And with all that, it's really hard to like feel attached to characters in some movies, but I liked all of them.
Remind me though, because it got a little crazy at the end, obviously. But did the original Alpha Waymond, did he die? Because like the bus crashed, right? And like all those other people died. So did he die? I can't remember.
I think
I
so.
can't remember. It's because she has all those conversations with everybody. It was almost like she had to do like marry, fuck, kill, kind of with like all of the different versions of her husband. Where she like stabbed one of them with glass.
Mhm.
She like had that like, oh, you're like a suave cigarette smoking businessman. They like had that flirtatious one. So I don't know. So much to unpack.
Yeah, definitely need to see it multiple times. I like the whole like he had double Bluetooth earpieces in that he would always turn on, and the fact that like the Alpha universe was so post-apocalyptic that they were literally having to drive a van and like jack in from a van because they always had to be on the move.
Yeah, that reminded me a lot of The Matrix. Like a lot. Where like, okay, they're on their ship and they're rogues, they're running away. And then the scene where Waymond, he's drinking the milk and everything's like, oh, they've out like we don't have cows and cattle in my
Oh,
time. I was like, oh, this is just like The Matrix, where they're like, going crazy over the food. A lot of similarities, but different, original too. Like it's a multiverse thing, not like a simulation thing. So it is different. It is different.
yeah, the directors, the Daniels, they directed, produced, and like hired all the appropriate people for choreography. Like they literally built the movie around the actors they wanted in it. So like they knew they wanted Michelle to be the main actress because they're huge fans of her work. And they built everything around that aspect.
Those are usually like the best kind of movies where they're like, we know this person's strengths so well. And she's 60 years old. So yeah, she's been in a lot of movies. She's been around for a long time. And these directors are a little bit older than us. I think they're in their mid 30s. And yeah, so to be like, okay, like imagine like Michelle, you doing this. I'm like Michelle doing that. And so like, yeah, that probably just helps write itself a bit. These guys are young though, dude. And they met at Emerson College in Boston, which is where my brother went. Really good school. So that's so cool that they like met, made a bunch of short films, and now 10 years later or whatever, 12, 15 years later out of college, they're making this.
Yeah, it reminded me of kind of like Quentin Tarantino. Like, A24 gave these guys a platform where I've never heard of them before. I don't know if this is like their first major film or something, but they're not like these huge Hollywood named directors, like Steven Spielberg or something. They're just like two friends who like watching movies, and they picked their favorite aspects from their favorite movies, put it together in one story, wrote it, and then like got huge name actors in it.
You're right, though. It is kind of like Quentin Tarantino, where it's like a hodgepodge of genres. And it does feel like these are just two friends that just met at college because they go by like the Daniels. And
Yeah.
usually, when you see directing partners, it's usually like brothers or sisters. It's rarely friends. And it's so funny that both their names are Dan. And they're just like, oh, we'll just go by the Daniels and we'll like make our movies and write them and stuff. But really quick to your point, they did make another movie that was pretty big back in 2016 called Swiss Army Man with
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Daniel Radcliffe. I think that was
Yes, yes.
their big jump into mainstream. I wanna say one thing, though. This is kind of all Evelyn's fault, because in the Alphaverse, if she wasn't the one pushing her daughter, like, to do all this crazy stuff, like, none of this woulda happened, right?
Yeah, but see, this is why if you had watched Marvel movies, so anyone who's seen the new Doctor Strange, right? They would know this what I'm talking about with the whole multiverse aspect. So in the new Doctor Strange, Stephen Strange, he messed up pretty bad in one timeline, right? And basically, every time he would go to a different timeline, they'd be like, some of them would think he's like not a superhero because he messed up in that timeline, or they thought he was a villain, or they were like, oh, this guy, we can't take him seriously. And he expressed himself to this one timeline where he said, you can't judge us all the same. Like, I'm not the same Stephen Strange as the one who messed up in your timeline. And that's kind of the same aspect with Evelyn, right?
Yeah, but, like, whatever caused Joy to go to all these different multiverses and do this bagel thing and turn them all into nothing, this only happens because Evelyn in the Alphaverse pushed Joy to that point of to, like, seeking revenge and all this stuff and being like, "I'm gonna do this."
Yes. Technically it's her fault, but also she didn't have to like kill every version. You know?
Well, yeah, because there's that one scene where it's like she's in, like, a chair and Evelyn's, like, yelling at her, and she's like, "Ah!" And she's, like, screaming, and, like, you're like, "What are they doing to her?" So it's like, "Evelyn, hey, kinda your fault."
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I don't know, I'm just trying to think, like, how did this all get started? But, yeah, it's an overreaction on Joy's part, a little bit.
But that's why they tried to make it work at the end because she wanted to avoid that happening. So like they didn't get the divorce and they're keeping the laundromat plays and they were okay with her having a girlfriend.
Yeah, I mean, it all yeah, you know what? You're right, because if the Alphavish thing didn't happen, then it wouldn't have all came together like it did. So maybe the unravel needed to happen to be raveled up again. I don't know. I don't know. So if there was a timeline, Justin, that you could jump into, what would you do? Your timeline, your life.
Like from the movie or
No, your life. If you're like right now, you're like, I have the ability to jump into any multiverse of Justin Willickson's life. Where'd you go?
I don't know. Where would you go?
Jesus, I don't know, man. A guy that owns like an island, and has like a super sick mansion on the island, and I've got like a six pack and stuff, like all the time, and I can eat peanut butter M&Ms for sustenance 24 hours a day and not get sick, like stuff like that.
That's like the movie with Brandon Fraser. Remember where he gets like three wishes from Elizabeth, what's her face, and she's the devil.
Yeah, bedazzled. Yeah,
But bedazzled, and he wishes to be rich and famous, but then he's like a cartel drug user.
yeah,
So,
that's the devil, though. I don't want the devil to get involved. I just want to go to different multiverses.
oh yeah, then yeah, if I could go anywhere, I'd go to a place where I was just like insanely rich, but not famous rich, so that I couldn't like go down to IHOP and people would be like, "Oh my god, it's Justin." So, like,
IHOP. That's like your first place your brain goes.
yeah. Well, just anywhere, like because like people in LA, like Will Smith can't just go to Big Y or something.
No, he definitely can't. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So nobody recognizes you, but you're a billionaire.
Like I'm rich because like I like sold software to a company or something.
Okay. I mean, I want to get crazy. I want to have like a spider monkey that can talk, and it's like he's like my friend and stuff. And yeah, I want to be able to like fly.
All right, so you're it's like a superhero.
I'm like a rich superhero who has monkey friends, and I can eat whatever I want, and it's healthy. That's part of it.
Okay.
I don't know. I get as much Jersey Mike's as I want. Uh, there's a lot of possibilities here, but I mean, they did this one tastefully. I really like the lung capacity one where it's like, oh, she's a blind person that gets really good at singing, which then forces her lungs to get good. I like loved that. That was really clever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this definitely felt a lot like Rick and Morty to me, where they go to different multiverses, and there's like the Council of Ricks, so there's all these different versions of Rick, and they all meet in one place. It kind of felt like that. It's a good movie though. It's really good. You should definitely check it out if you're interested in like time travel or sci-fi or The Matrix or any of that stuff. Like, it's a good rendition.
Yeah. What would you rate it?
Oh man, probably a 7.5.
What?
Yeah,
What?
I don't think it's like a well, maybe it is mind blowing. I don't know.
What are you
I need
talking
to see it
about?
again. I need to see it again.
7.5?
You're hurting my feelings. You're shaming me into giving. All right, fine. All right, fine. 7.8. How about that? 7. I'm shamed into this.
Dude. Okay. What'd you give Top Gun Maverick?
I feel like a 9.
What did you give Chippendale Rescue Rangers?
I don't know. I can't remember. I feel like in the eights. In the eights, probably. Okay. This is
So
better
you're
than. Okay,
so
no. This
you're
is better.
saying Chippendale is
No.
better than this?
No. Okay, sorry. There's different scales. There's different scales. This is better than Chippendale for different reasons. For different reasons. But yeah, if I had a gun to my head, I'd be like, okay, yes, this is better than Chippendale. It definitely is.
I gotta go ahead and give it a 9, dude. Like I feel like this film was just one of a kind. Like they did such a good job. They took like kind of the scary movie aspect where they just like made fun of a bunch of horror films because that's what they did. They just took a bunch of films and put it here, but they did it in a way that it wasn't like cheesy.
Yeah, it's tastefully done. It's tastefully done. The way they get their powers is cool. Yeah, I
Mhm.
don't know. I mean, personally, I enjoy Top Gun a little bit more, but I just enjoyed that movie more. But like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's better than Chippendale. It's definitely better than Chippendale. It's definitely better than that. But anyways, well, you got any last minute thoughts?
Next Fresh Film Friday is gonna be the Nick Cage movie.
Yeah. We've been choosing some crazy titles. I can't remember this movie ever. People are like, "Hey, have you seen that movie?" I'm like everywhere that the place where that you know that one. And then the Nicolas Cage movie, yeah, The Unbreakable. Something. No, that's not. I don't even know.
It's the unbearable weight of massive talent.
Yeah, I'll never remember that. But anyways, if you haven't had a chance yet, we released our episode on episode 4 of Obi-Wan yesterday. You can check that out. And we also had An American Werewolf in London on Monday, and we have Cujo coming out this Monday. So check that out, and we'll see you all next week with the unbearable massive talent of something. Nicolas Cage.
Of Nick Cage.
That's it. See ya.